Now joining us is Stingray from the Paul Finebaum Show. I'm going to go ahead and do a generic, corny sports radio intro just because I'm actually interested. But Stingray, how are you today, my man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. I hear that Alabama accent, so I want to go ahead and just start it off. The SEC, ESPN. ESPN is obviously biased towards the SEC, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we heard it from an SEC person. I just had to ask that question. I was just curious. I'm sure that Jen had told you the main reason of why I wanted you to come on to the show. You're a Trump supporter. I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, but Stingray, I'm not here to attack you. I have nothing against Trump other than the fact that he didn't denounce the KKK. Other than that, I have no issues with Trump. Hillary Clinton that's my enemy. Hillary Clinton is my enemy. Donald Trump is not my enemy. But I wanted to bring you on. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit. For one, why do you support Donald Trump?
Well, basically because I'm tired of all talk and no action from all the other politicians. Because, they're all basically all politicians other than Trump or maybe Kasich. All they are puppets on a string for all the lobbyists that give them money. And Trump has not taken any money from any lobbyist, and he's not going to do it. And, he's not going to be a puppet on a string if and when he is elected.
Wow, what a great reason. So I applaud your reasoning for that. I absolutely love it. Next question for you. When it comes to Trump, I've noticed that a lot of celebrities who come out in support of Donald Trump, they always get asked, are you a racist? You supporting Trump, have you ever been asked that? Or are you a racist? Have you ever been asked that before?
No, but, there's also that other kind of stipulation that you're uneducated or inbred or, you don't really have a good basis for politics if you support Trump. And I really, really dislike the fact about that because I do have a college degree, and I'm just, like I said before, I'm tired of all talk and no action.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We get that inbred thing anyway because we're from Alabama, right, Stingray?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, that's just part of being from the South. I'm from the South as well. I don't necessarily hear as much from where I used to live, but Alabama, I could definitely understand it. What is your opinion on Bernie Sanders? Because there's been a lot of debate going on about, and I'm one of the people saying it, that the most obvious person who actually cares about the American people is Bernie Sanders. You disagree with that?
Well, like you were saying earlier about the emails with Hillary, I'm wondering why Bernie Sanders is not hitting her with more information about the emails, because I really feel like he could really turn the tide of the Democratic Party if he would start slamming her, saying, hey, what about these emails? Are you going to be indicted and all that stuff? But he's kind of stayed out of the mudslinging, and it continues to hurt him because Hillary is beating him in almost every state by a landslide.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? Why? Because I'm one of those people. I was actually having a conversation with somebody last night who's also a Bernie supporter, and I was talking to him about I don't like the fact that Bernie has not been mudslinging enough. He has so much content on Hillary Clinton that he could use against her, but he's not doing it. He's not taking advantage of it, and he needs to do it now while these heavy liberal states are coming up. But in your opinion, why do you think that Bernie Sanders, he just cannot get involved with the mudslinging?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But I will say on your first question, I think people are overlooking everything that Hillary has done because they want a first woman president in the White House, and they want it to be Hillary for whatever reason.
In your opinion, do you think a woman should be president?
I do. I just don't think it should be Hillary, just simply because of her past history, and especially with the stuff with Benghazi and the email scandal that she's having right now. I just don't think she's trustworthy at all.
Now, my co-host,
I have no problem with a woman being president at all.
Yeah, I have the exact same mindset, so we can relate there. My co-host, Bill from Long Island, he doesn't believe in Bernie Sanders' plans, which I can completely understand why. He does not like Hillary Clinton, so pretty much the only choice that's going to be left for him is Donald Trump. But even then, he's not completely sold on Trump. Can you give Gil from Long Island 3 reasons of why he should vote for Donald Trump?
Well, he's going to make America great again, and he is not going to basically be a puppet on a string for all the lobbyists, and he is going to shut down some of the immigrants coming into the country and terrorists like we saw over in Brussels yesterday. That was just awful, and I really think that terrorist attack is going to help Trump because people are now going to get on the bandwagon of, well, maybe we need these strict National Guard policy.
Yeah, I agree completely with you about the whole terrorist attack is going to help Trump in the polls. Bill, I'm kind of curious to see if you have any questions involving your support for Trump or thinking about your support for Trump.
No, I think Stingray has really done a good job explaining himself, and he's come across very well, being very knowledgeable. Fighting the stereotype with the accent and whatnot, because I know they make fun. I know they make fun of the Alabama accent, and wherever I go, they say immediately New York, like Long Island. Like I knew it was from up there. No, you've made some very valid points in your support for Donald Trump. I don't hate Donald Trump,
right.
But my stance has always been it can't be her.
Yes.
With the whole Stingray, with the whole temporary ban on Muslims, I know a lot of people are bothered by that, but I actually agree with him on that. He's not wrong. The whole building a wall with Mexico, I have mixed feelings about that. I'm not exactly sure where I lie. But as far as him not denouncing the Ku Klux Klan and lying about knowing David Duke, the head of the Ku Klux Klan, what is the reasoning for that, Stingray? Because that right there makes me want to call him a racist.
I have no idea why he didn't do that, and I think that really kind of hurt him when he didn't do that, because a lot of people are, bringing it up and whatnot, and he was bashed about it in the Republican debate a couple of months ago. So I don't know why he didn't do that, but I do think it kind of hurt him in some regard.
Let me ask you this. I know you're an SEC fan, but I started out in the Miami market, so I'm in ACC territory with all these Hurricanes fans. With your experience in college football, in my opinion, the most sensitive fan base in college football is the Miami Hurricanes fan base. From what you've seen, what is the most sensitive fan base in college football?
Alabama.
Alabama, really?
No doubt. Because let me tell you, Alabama fans basically they want to win a national championship every single year, or it is a horrible season and a busted season. And let me tell you, the coaching, there's a lot of Alabama fans that will turn on coaches during the course of games.
Lane Kiffin.
Yes. Yeah, and Kirby Smart there too. There was a lot of times where fans were really good on Kirby Smart, and then all of a sudden you let teams start coming back just a little bit, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we need to fire Kirby Smart." I'm like, really? Like 20 minutes ago, you loved the guy.
Yep.
I want to ask you a hypothetical question, a debate that we've had on the show a couple of months ago. But I made the statement of, obviously Nick Saban is dominating in Alabama, but I made the statement of, because at the time there was a conversation, there was a rumor floating around that Nick Saban possibly could leave Alabama for Texas. Do you agree or do you disagree with me, Stingray, that if no matter what school in the country that Nick Saban goes to, he will make that school a powerhouse?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I could say that, though, because you've got to have great recruiting, and no doubt Texas is a really good recruiting base. But let's say he goes to a smaller school like Vanderbilt or Kentucky, I kind of doubt with those kind of schools, that he could get the recruitment there, just simply because they don't have the tradition that Alabama does. I think that plays into the Nick Saban's hand just a little bit in the recruiting aspect too, because it's a big name school and it's had other great coaches like Gene Stallings, like Bear Bryant, and names like that.
Who is the better caller from the Paul Finebaum Show? You or Tammy?
Probably me. Me, no doubt.
All right, so Stingray says that he is better than Tammy. Have you ever met Tammy? Because I know you're from Alabama,
I've
correct?
never met her. Yes, I'm from Alabama. I've never met her, but I have talked to her on Facebook and stuff.
Ah, okay. Well, that's interesting. Paul Finebaum, that's a character. Well, Beal, do you have any questions? Because I've kind of been hogging the interview.
Yeah, I got a couple for you. I'm just to let you know that Stingray, you actually, when your name came up to be interviewed, you actually resonated up in New York. That you're kind of a staple on the Paul Finebaum Show. Could you explain to like a New York audience and people like me why the Paul Finebaum Show has been such a staple in SEC football? I mean, he's been doing the show for a real long time.
Oh yeah. Well, he is the ins and outs and the all of college football in the SEC. I mean, everybody around the SEC knows who Paul Finebaum is, and I'm not sure about anywhere else outside of the SEC, but he is the best that we have down here in the SEC.
And I saw all your YouTube videos to prepare for you when you were coming on, and you seem like a good guy, and you handle sports journalism nicely, and you say you do with a positive connotation, so you can give it as good as you take it. So I have one question for you, Stingray.
Okay.
Does it bother you that the best quarterback to come out of Mississippi, Eli Manning, went to Ole Miss?
No, not really. I mean, it doesn't really bother me because I right now, to be honest with you, I think Dak Prescott is a little bit better than Eli. But we'll have to see how he does in the NFL. But Dak Prescott was a really good quarterback from Mississippi State, and I actually like Eli.
Okay.
The Manning from the Giants. He's a really good quarterback. I don't like Peyton though. I think Eli's done more with less. So
you're not a big fan. So you're not a big fan of Peyton Manning's penis?
No. No.
A question for you as far as Alabama is concerned. Why does it seem like Nick Saban can't ever find an elite quarterback for Alabama? They always win without elite quarterbacks.
I think it's because Nick Saban is a run-first offense, and I think he really puts the emphasis on playing great defense like a lot of the teams did back in the day with like Bear Bryant. I think he goes out and tries to recruit game managers like A.J. McCarron, like Jake Coker, like Alabama just had. And so I think it's really the game managers they want rather than the elite, big-time, big-name guys.
And you know what they say, defense wins championships.
Yes.
That's right.
Very correct.
That's Bill's phrase. That's Bill's favorite phrase.
That's where my old man wisdom comes in. Stingray, I know you went to the University of Alabama and you're a huge Michigan State fan. How do you choose from one team to the other?
Actually,
State.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
I was about to say.
My bad.
State.
I said, you know what? Michigan rolled up on the screen on the bottom of ESPN, so I said Michigan. I misspoke. Mississippi State.
I don't know, man. I went over to Mississippi State to tour the campus because I love the weather. So I went over there and toured the campus and fell in love with the Southern hospitality and got accepted to Mississippi State. And then at the last second, decided to get my sports broadcasting degree from Alabama. But the Southern hospitality and the uniqueness of Starkville just stuck with me.
Last question, and we'll go ahead and get you out of here. But Stingray, is there any way that I can get you to vote for Byrne?
Possibly, yes.
Possibly. All right. What is it going to take?
I don't know, man.
Oh, so you doubt it? Yeah. Go ahead. Just go ahead and vote for Trump. As long as it's not Hillary Clinton, I'm fine.
Yes,
but Stingray from the Paul Finebaum Show, we do appreciate you joining the show, sir.
No problem. And I enjoyed it.
Before you go, Stingray, can we please get a Hail State?
Yes, of course. Hail State, guys.
Thank you.
All right,
thanks for joining the show, Stingray.
Thank you, Stingray.
Thank you. Y'all be good, okay?
Bye.
Yes, sir.